It's been obviously fantastic, and she's been a little joy of heaven.
A silent royal hall. A little girl in a dress walks up to a grand piano. No one expected her to play because she was never supposed to. But when she did, jaws dropped. Cheers followed. And the world took notice. This is the story of how Princess Charlotte stunned everyone, after being told she couldn't. Born into a crown, not a chorus. Princess Charlotte was born into a world that already had her life planned. From the start, everything around her followed rules. Her clothes, her smile, her schedule, nothing was random. Every royal child learns early that there are ways to act, walk, and speak. Their lives are shaped to fit the image of the crown. Most children wake up and play. Charlotte woke up and trained. While others watched cartoons, she learned how to wave. While some danced around their living rooms, she practiced sitting straight with her hands in her lap. That's how it works in the royal family. People expect calm behavior and perfect posture. Dreams and hobbies don't usually come first. As the third in line to the throne, Charlotte had a role. She would grow up to support her older brother, Prince George. She needed to know how to follow royal duties and stay in line with tradition. She was taught to be polite, quiet, and ready for the spotlight. There was no space in the plan for passions like art or music. These things were seen as fun, but not important. Inside the palace, most staff members saw music as a side activity, something you do for fun, not something to take seriously. To them, music was a nice extra, not a real path. They wanted Charlotte to focus on her public role. Playing instruments wasn't on the list, and so no one encouraged it. But Charlotte noticed music on her own. She picked up sounds quickly. By age 3, she was already showing signs that she loved rhythm. She tapped on the windows when it rained. She clapped in time with the TV. She danced in the hallway to songs coming from the radio. She hummed little tunes while walking down the stairs. Kate and William saw this. They noticed how Charlotte's face lit up when music played. She could hear something once and hum it later. She loved sound. It calmed her and excited her at the same time. But in their world, fun often had to wait. Music wasn't a big topic in royal meetings. When Kate talked about piano lessons, the idea was brushed aside. Staff said it wasn't a good time. There were other things to focus on. Someone reportedly told them, "It's a hobby, not a priority." That was the mood in the palace. The main goal was raising a future royal, not raising an artist. Playing piano didn't fit the picture they had in mind for Charlotte. But Charlotte didn't forget. Every time she saw a piano, her eyes lit up. She'd walk over and gently press the keys. Even when no one was watching, she'd pretend her fingers were on a keyboard. She'd tap on tables, her lap, or even her books. She created little rhythms by herself. She played invisible notes, like she was practicing without a real piano. One day at a family event, she sat by a piano and started tapping quietly. A staff member nearby said, "She's not training for the Royal Albert Hall." It was said with a smile, but the message was clear. People didn't expect her to take music seriously. They thought it would pass. They thought it was cute, but nothing more. Charlotte asked for lessons more than once. She kept showing interest. She made it clear she loved music. But every time, the idea got pushed away. Other things came first. School, events, public appearance, there was always something more important on the calendar. Music had no place on it. But even with no lessons, Charlotte kept going. She found ways to learn in her own little world. She copied what she saw on TV. She listened closely to the sounds around her. She tapped her fingers like she was already playing a song. She played without keys, without notes, and without noise. But the music was still there, in her head and in her heart. She wasn't trying to rebel. She was still following the rules. She smiled in public. She did her royal waves. But when she had a quiet moment, her mind went back to music. It became part of her. It made her feel free, even when everything else felt planned. People around her saw what was happening. Kate, especially, paid attention. She noticed how focused Charlotte became when music played, how calm she looked while tapping rhythms on the floor, how her body relaxed when she heard a melody. At that time, it didn't seem like anything big. Charlotte was just a little girl with a love for piano keys she couldn't even touch. But something had started. A spark had lit. And it was only growing stronger. The palace didn't plan for this. No one expected Charlotte to follow a musical path. But sometimes, the most powerful parts of a person begin in silence, in small moments, in little taps on a table. And even though the doors to music were gently closed on her, someone was already holding the key. But Charlotte's love for music was about to find a way to grow, even in secret, breaking the silence. Inside the palace, things were quiet. But Charlotte's love for music was growing every day. Kate saw it clearly. She watched how happy Charlotte looked when she tapped her fingers or hummed a tune. Kate knew her daughter needed more than just royal lessons. She needed music. So Kate made a quiet decision. She found a piano teacher and asked them to come in secret. There was no big talk about it. No one outside the family knew. The teacher came through a side door. Lessons took place in a small room where no one would interrupt. From the first day, it was clear. Charlotte had a gift. She picked things up fast. When the teacher played a note, Charlotte remembered it. Her fingers moved smoothly, even though she was still small. She smiled when she played. It didn't feel like work to her. It felt natural. The teacher was surprised. Charlotte wasn't just trying. She was learning quickly. She listened closely. She asked smart questions. Every week she got better. She played longer pieces. She added feeling to the songs. Kate was proud. She stayed near during some lessons. Sometimes Prince William stopped by too. He stood in the doorway, listened quietly, and then left. People close to the family said he was touched. It reminded him of Princess Diana, his mother, who also played piano when she was young. Charlotte's lessons continued, still in secret, still quiet. She practiced in small rooms during the early mornings or before bedtime. Her favorite place was a music room in the back of the palace. The piano there was old, but she liked the sound. That room became special to her. She learned piece after piece. Some were slow and soft, others were fast and tricky. She handled both. Her teacher started bringing her harder songs. Charlotte didn't complain. She enjoyed the challenge. Music made her feel calm. It helped her focus. At this point, only a few people knew she played. The royal staff didn't talk about it. The public had no idea, but Charlotte kept growing. She wasn't playing for praise. She was playing for herself. Then something unexpected happened. The family planned a small charity event. It was for friends and supporters. There would be food, speeches, and soft background music. A professional pianist was supposed to play. But on the morning of the event, the plan fell apart. The pianist called in. He couldn't make it. He was stuck in traffic or delayed by weather. No one had a backup. The music part of the event was going to be dropped. Charlotte heard people talking about it. She walked up to her mom and said, "I can do it." She didn't raise her voice. She didn't beg. She said it like she meant it. Kate paused. This was a public event. It was filled with adults, media, and cameras. But she looked at Charlotte and nodded. A small yes, a quiet yes. The news spread quickly inside the building. Some people were unsure. They didn't know what to expect. But Kate had made the decision, and Charlotte was ready. She wore a simple blue dress. Her shoes were neat. Her hair was tied back. She looked calm but focused. She walked to the piano with steady steps. The room fell quiet. She sat down. Her hands rested gently on the keys. She took a breath, and then she played. The music was smooth and clear. Every note sounded right. She didn't rush. She didn't pause too long. She moved through the piece with care. Her fingers touched the keys like they were part of her. She looked peaceful. The room stayed silent the whole time. No one moved. No one whispered. Everyone watched. When the last note ended, there was a short pause. Then people clapped. A few stood up. Some looked surprised. Others looked proud. One guest, near the back, had filmed the whole thing. What happened next would surprise everyone, including Charlotte herself. Notes that shook the palace. The lights in the room stayed soft. Guests stood around talking. Some held drinks. Others looked at the paintings on the wall. It was a normal royal event. Calm, quiet, and neat. Then something changed. Charlotte walked forward, wearing a powder blue dress. She didn't run or smile too much. She walked slowly, with small steps. Everyone turned to see her. Some looked confused. She wasn't part of the program. No one had said she would perform. She reached the piano. It sat in the corner, large and shiny. She pulled out the bench and sat down. Her feet didn't quite touch the floor. She placed her hands on the keys. Then she looked up, took a soft breath, and began to play. The first note rang out clear, then the next. The room fell silent. The music moved like water, smooth and steady. Charlotte played each part with care. Her fingers stayed strong, her back stayed straight. She knew this song well. She didn't stop or slow down. Every sound felt full and warm. She kept going. No one made a sound. Even the waiters stood still. Her music filled the air like it belonged there. She reached the end, and her fingers lifted from the keys. The last note stayed in the room for a moment. Then, clapping. It started small. A few hands, then more. Soon the whole room joined in. Some people stood up. Some smiled wide. A few looked shocked. Charlotte gave a quiet nod, stood from the bench and walked back toward her family. One guest had recorded the whole thing. That night, they shared the video online. Just a simple clip. No edits, no fancy titles. It spread fast. People on social media watched, liked, and shared. Then more people did the same. In less than a day, the video had over 3 million views. Comments came from everywhere. People called her talented. Some said she played with heart. Others said her hands moved like magic. On TikTok, users added filters and remixed the video. Some played it next to their own clips. Others used it for dance sounds or calming music. Music teachers reacted. They talked about her control and timing. One said, "She plays like she understands the meaning behind the notes." Another said her hands moved like someone with years of training. Celebrities joined in. A few famous musicians shared the clip. One offered her a free lesson at his studio. Another said, "She has a real gift." Music schools sent invites. They wanted her to visit or learn with them. All this happened in less than 2 days. Inside the palace, staff were surprised. The performance was not part of the official plan. There had been no press release. Some people asked if this was allowed. Others thought it was a sweet moment that got out of hand. The palace moved quickly. A short message was sent to the media. It said Charlotte's song was a planned surprise. They said the family had wanted to keep it quiet until the event. It was meant to be a small moment, not a big story. But people close to the family said something else. They said the whole thing happened because of Charlotte, that she had offered to play, that Kate had agreed, that no one had expected it to turn into a global story. This was not a media stunt. It was real, and that was why people loved it. Charlotte had shown a different side of the royal family. She had shared something true, something personal. She showed that royals have talents and dreams too. She showed that they are human. People started talking. They wanted to see more of this, more real moments, more talent, more truth. In schools, teachers told their students about Charlotte's story. Parents told their kids to try new things, just like she did. Music teachers used the video in class. They said, "Look what's possible when someone believes in you." Even inside the palace, things changed. The staff started looking at the children in a new way. They talked about giving them more space to grow, more time for art, more time for music, more chances to find their own voice. Charlotte became a quiet leader. She didn't shout or take over. She simply played a song. But that song reached people in a way few things do. Some called her the most emotionally strong royal of her age. Others said she could shape the future of the monarchy, not with rules, but with heart. She had shown the world what can happen when someone gets the chance to be heard. That one quiet song was about to change everything for Charlotte and her family. The sound of change. After Charlotte's piano video reached the world, people kept talking about it. It was more than just a short moment. Her quiet performance had started something bigger. All over the country, people shared the clip. But more than that, they shared what it meant to them. Some said they felt proud. Some said it gave them hope. Others said it made them think about what the royal family could be. For a long time, royals followed the same path. They smiled, waved, and stood still. People expected them to look perfect. But Charlotte's story showed something new. She showed heart. She showed joy. She showed that royals can do more than follow rules. Writers on parenting blogs shared her story with families. They called it a great example of what can happen when a child gets the chance to grow. Some speakers talked about her during TED Talks. They said her music reminded people that every child has something special to give. In Parliament, one British MP stood up and said something too. He spoke about her courage. He said her choice to play in front of so many people was brave. He thanked her for showing kindness and strength without saying a word. Letters started coming into the palace. Parents said their children had started playing piano after watching Charlotte. One mother said her daughter was very shy and never wanted to perform in public. But after watching Charlotte, she asked for a piano and started learning her first song. Another parent said, "My child feels seen now." Charlotte showed her that it's okay to try, even when no one expects it. Charlotte gave something real to people. She gave more than music. She gave kids the feeling that they were allowed to dream. She gave them quiet permission to follow what they loved. The palace saw all of this happening. At first, it took them by surprise. The performance had not been part of the plan, but they watched as people all over the world praised Charlotte. They couldn't ignore the impact she had. So the palace made a choice. They welcomed it. Charlotte was invited to perform again. First, at a small family event. Then, at a local children's fundraiser. These were simple moments, not big shows, but they mattered. Each time, Charlotte sat at the piano, played from the heart, and touched the room. She was still young. She didn't say much. She didn't act like a star. She played because she loved it. And people felt that. Her story began to change how others saw the royal family. Some people said the royals were becoming more open, more human. Charlotte helped that change by being herself. Inside the palace, new ideas took shape. Staff began to support creative work. Music, dance, art, these things now had space. More young royals started taking lessons. More time was given for hobbies. The rules were still there, but the walls felt softer. Charlotte didn't set out to change anything. She just followed what made her happy. But her actions spoke louder than words. People started saying she brought something fresh. They said she was a modern royal. Not loud, not bold, just honest. She helped the royal family grow into something more real, not just old rules and traditions, but also music, emotion, and quiet courage. Charlotte showed that being royal today means more than standing still. It means bringing your own story to the world. She proved that kindness, talent, and heart can live beside crowns and titles. Charlotte played when no one planned it and changed everything. Tell us what you think in the comments. Tap like if you believe every child should get a chance to shine, crown or not. And don't forget to subscribe for more royal stories you won't see coming.